What up though? I'm Bree and this is Baked After Dark. Fall has fallen to Michigan, and as a native Michigander, there aren't many things more exciting than a trip to the apple orchard. From school trips to unforgettable date nights, we love the apple orchard. A lot of times when people think about Michigan and they think of fruit, they always think of cherries and Traverse City, but apples are one of our biggest exporters. And not only do we produce a wide variety of apples, but we produce the best apples here in Michigan. But as good as the apples are, everybody knows that the main attraction of the apple orchard is the donuts. And tonight, I'm gonna show you how to recreate the magic of those cider mill donuts right in your kitchen. Whether you're somewhere in Michigan like me, or you're somewhere across the globe and you don't have an apple orchard. Let's get started. This apron is a one-of-a-kind from my custom collection. I made it myself. One of the best parts of fall is flannel. I love flannel. And not just any flannel, but this buffalo check flannel is my favorite flannel print, hands down. It just screams fall and I love it. This might be my favorite apron so far. She's so cute! Tonight's recipe is super easy. Not only do I want to show you how easy these donuts are, I'm going to show you these donuts two different ways. All you need is a couple of ingredients and a lot of time. This dough needs to chill for at least 2 hours before we fry it. We are frying it tonight. I'm not even using a stand mixer tonight. We're going to mix everything by hand because it's just that simple. First, we're going to start with our dry ingredients. This is 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour sifted. To this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, about a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of cardamom. You can use any warm spices that you like, but these are the warm spices that I like. So I'm actually going to just add all of these to our flour and give that a good whisk. Oh, I also have vanilla bean powder in that mixture. We're gonna set that to the side. And then in this bowl, we're gonna add apple cider. Now, this is reduced apple cider. What does that mean, Bree? You know I'm about to tell you. So, you wanna take 2.5 cups of apple cider and boil it on your stove for about 45 minutes on medium heat until it reduces to 1 cup of apple cider, which is what we have here. To our apple cider reduction, we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Then I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of white sugar and a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, tightly packed. And I'm just gonna whisk this really well. And then I'm gonna add 2 large eggs. These are at room temperature. Now, once you make your apple cider reduction, you wanna make sure that it is fully cooled before you start mixing this up, because otherwise it's gonna cook your eggs and you don't want scrambled eggs in your donuts. That's not good. And I love scrambled eggs. Okay, so now you have something that actually looks a little bit like an oily apple cider, okay? Now we're gonna take about 1/3 of our dry ingredients and start whisking it in. So if you've never been to an apple orchard and you don't know what an apple orchard donut is, it is a deliciously cakey, spiced donuts that's flavored with apple cider. Different cider mills have different recipes, different styles. Now, if you live in the Detroit city limits, there are not many apple orchards near us. So maybe you want to take the kids to the apple orchard yourself, but you know, you don't have a means to do it. Bring the apple orchard to the house. We got donuts at home. Our batter is turning into a dough. It's getting a little thick on us. So I'm gonna switch from this whisk to mixing with this rubber spoon. Okay, at this point, you should have a very thick batter. I know this doesn't look like dough at all, but this is why we need that chill time. So we're gonna let this actually firm up in our refrigerator for about 2 hours. You can actually store this in the refrigerator for up to 12 hours before you bake it off. Once it gets firm, we're gonna roll it out and then punch out our donuts to fry. That was so easy. The biggest thing is having the time. Like 2 hours, I get it. You know, donuts are just, they're not a quick night. So I'm about to show you what to do in the meantime while your dough is chilled. While our dough is in the refrigerator setting up, let's go ahead and get started on our variation of the classic cider mill donut. That's right, we're not just making plain Jane donuts tonight, because of course we're not. So my homegirl Monique tagged me in this post on Facebook and said, Bree, well actually she ain't say shit. She just put some eyes, like, and that's pretty much how I know what's up. I mean, hey, bake this shit. And I looked at it and I was like, ooh, okay. Churro cheesecake donut, I'm a fan. And I said, I actually have a donut episode coming up. I didn't say that it was a apple cider donut. But when I immediately saw this picture, I was like, ooh, my apple cider donuts would go crazy with cheesecake in the middle. But y'all just saw that though, so how the fuck are we gonna put cheesecake in it? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know. This is a complete shot in the dark, so we're gonna see if this shit works. And if it don't work, I'm gonna keep this in because y'all need to see how I be experimenting and sometimes failing. It's okay, fail forward. I'm gonna begrudgingly use my KitchenAid mixer because I'm making a small batch of the filling and my 7-quart mixer is just, it's too big. It won't mix well, so. And if you don't have a stand mixer, that's completely okay. You can use a hand mixer or you can put some elbow grease and mix it by hand. We're gonna start off with 8 ounces of cream cheese, that's 1 brick. To that, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, paddle attachment, and to add a little razzle dazzle, I'm putting a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste into our mixture. I have a disposable piping bag. If you don't have a piping bag, go ahead and get yourself a sturdy freezer bag. I get these from my local bakery supply store. And I like big bags, okay? Especially in a project like this because I don't like to keep having to refill the bag. So I'm actually gonna just snip off the tip. Now usually I would use just a large round tip, but my round tip is currently in the dishwasher, so we're gonna do the best with what we got. So this is a large French tip, and if you're using just a regular freezer bag, you don't need a tip at all. I have it, so I'm using it, but if you don't have it, you can make it work without it. I decided that this was the donut size that I wanted and that I need my cheesecake ring to fit inside of that. So I'm using the donut ring. The dough that we made is gonna make about 1.5 donuts. So I'm gonna make a 1/2 dozen of those cheesecake donuts, which is sick, y'all. If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me how many was in a dozen, I would have a lot of dollars. Do better. Okay, so while your dough is setting up, if you're doing this, like I am, go ahead and get these in the freezer because they need to be completely solid by the time we get ready for our dough. Now it's time for the grand finale. Let's make our donut. Tonight we're gonna fry our donuts. Now listen, I know that's not the healthier option, but it's a fucking donut. What you want from me, all right? We frying donuts tonight. So because our dough is delicate, I wanna make sure that we got our donut making station completely set up and ready to go. The first thing I want to do is get my oil started. Because donuts need a steady temperature and I don't feel like going to the basement to get my actual fryer, I'm actually going to do it on the stove, and I'm going to use my cast iron enamel Dutch oven. If you don't have a Dutch oven, You just need a heavy bottom pot. I prefer cast iron because it keeps a steady cooking temperature, but use whatever you have. Again, you're gonna need a candy thermometer or something that you can check your oil temperature with. Some kind of kitchen thermometer. And you're gonna need oil to fry in. This is just regular vegetable oil. You can use whatever you have. Peanut oil, canola oil. Pour enough oil into my cast iron Dutch oven so that there's about 3 inches of oil at the bottom. And I won't start dropping my donuts until the oil gets to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While our oil is coming up to temperature, let's go ahead and start rolling out our donuts. So as you can see, our batter kind of dough has actually turned into dough. We have to work fast. We don't want it to get back to room temperature. This has been in my refrigerator for about 4 hours. You want to make sure that you have a well floured surface because this dough is very sticky. And you want to make sure you flour both sides. I have a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can actually pat these out, like literally pat them out. But again, it's a very delicate dough and it's gonna get sticky, so I don't want to put too much heat on it. If you don't have a rolling pin, what are you doing? This is like episode 8. Like, do you need a link? I'm gonna drop a link. Go buy a rolling pin, okay? And if you still not gonna buy a rolling pin, go get you a bottle of wine that's straight side. We're gonna roll this into about a 1/2 inch of thickness. And these are actually gonna expand in the grease, so it's fine. This dough is beautiful. Smells so good. Okay. That's about a 1/2 inch. Now, here's the caveat. We're about to do some freaky shit with this dough, right? So I'm gonna actually take 1/2-ish and roll it a little thinner. Actually, it's okay. All right, I'm rolling this 1/2 a little thinner because this is the 1/2 I think I'm gonna put my donut rings in. Well, my cheesecake rings. So these are our frozen cheesecake rings. I'm gonna just put one here. And one here, and one here, and I'm gonna fold this over because I want to make like a little like envelope, so to speak. Y'all, I don't know if this shit gonna work. In theory, it should work, but we gonna see. Okay. Perfect. That is a donut. Okay. I just gotta make sure that it's sealed so that once it starts frying, the cheesecake don't seep out. Donut hole popping in the middle. Y'all, I think I did it. Ah! Oh no, the cheesecake going. Okay. All right, I don't know if this is gonna work, but we gonna see. Monique, this for you, girl. This one, I think, instead of trying to punch the hole out, I think I'm gonna like just push it through. Let's see. And I'm okay with like letting these kind of sit on the counter because this ring is frozen. That's gonna keep our dough cool. And let's try the last one. I'm just making sure that I don't see no cheesecake peeking out, and just make a hole, almost like I would a bagel. All right, those are our first 3 of that kind. We're gonna see. For our cinnamon sugar mix, I'm just gonna take a 1.5 cups of white sugar and add a 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. I'm also gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla bean powder, because I'm fancy. I'm just gonna stir that and get it well incorporated. Make sure that the vanilla is well incorporated with the cinnamon and the sugar. We don't have no clumps, lumps, or dumps. All right, our oil is at 350 degrees, and I'm gonna drop our cheesecake filled donuts first. Now, traditionally, you're supposed to cook these at 1 to 2 minutes per side, but with the cheesecake in the middle, I'm not entirely sure. Oh my God, I think it's working. Roll it in cinnamon and sugar. We'll toss it. Let's see how our regulars come out. Our donuts look so good. I broke this one, so this one I'm gonna crack open, but let's get some plating done here, shall we? I left some plain because why not? Who don't love a classic apple cider donut? I think this is a cheesecake. This is a cheesecake. This is a cheesecake. I don't know if it worked. Let's see. Oh my God. Oh my God. This was crazy successful. I think in the next batch, this is a lot of cheesecake. I mean, a lot of cheesecake. I personally think it might be a little too much cheesecake. So in the next batch, I'm gonna pipe the rings thinner. But I know what y'all gonna say. Brie, is no such thing as too much cheesecake. Our cider is nicely chilled. Cheers. Ooh. The apples that I chose work so well together. Like, the Gala apples are sweet, the Honey Crisp are bright, the Cosmic apples kind of tone it down a bit, so it's not too sweet. It's perfect. Oh my God. These smell so good. Is this a cider meal? You know, perfect. Well, y'all, that's our show. Whether you make it to the cider mill this season or not, I hope you make these donuts because they were simple, easy, and man, are they so good. I hope that y'all make these, and if you do, please tag the show at Official Baked After Dark on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Don't just keep me to yourself. Tell your mama though. And make sure that if you can't take Bae to the cider mill, that you bring the cider mill to Bae. Make sure you listen to Baked After Dark, the podcast, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make your questions, confessions, and whatever else you want to throw in the inbox to bakedwithbree.com/askbree. And I might just read your question on the show. You can also use that same inbox to submit baking requests on the show. Monique, when you see this, girl, I got some cheesecake-stuffed donuts for you. I'm Bree, and I'll see y'all here next week with another cool recipe and maybe even a new apron. Y'all stay sweet. Bye, y'all.